Are you getting ready to sell your house, but you're not quite sure where to start or what the process is to even get started? Well, you are in the right place because I'm going to be talking about exactly how to get your home listed, what the process is, and some of the key factors to getting it sold in this episode of My name is Jared Allison. I'm a real estate agent here in Central Florida with Century 21 Alton Clark, and I have sold many houses over the past couple of years, and I've learned quite a bit, and I wanted to share some of that knowledge with you. So you're thinking about selling your house, or maybe you know somebody that's thinking about selling a house, and either way, you're unsure of where to start, what the process is, and that's what we're going to talk about. So where do you start when you're ready to sell the house? First thing is you have to decide whether you're going to sell it for sale by owner or FSBO for short. FSBO just means you're going to take on that task your own, and that means you're responsible for the marketing, you're responsible for the paperwork and everything like that. Or you're going to get with an agent, you're going to hire a real estate agent or a realtor to do the listing and sell your house for you. Now, for sale by owner, there are some pros and cons. It can be very challenging if you are not familiar with the process. And there's a lot of mistakes that I see that for sale by owners make. And I'm actually going to be doing another episode here in a couple of weeks just about for sale by owners. And that way you can decide whether it's going to be right for you or not. Some people it works, some people it's not going to work. So it just depends on how much you want to be involved in selling your house. Okay, so again, where do you start? So you've made that decision. You're going to go with a real estate agent or a realtor. You have to hire somebody. Where do you find people? Where do you find a real estate agent? Well, you can find somebody on a website or by doing a Google search for the area, or even better, if you know somebody that's already done a transaction with an agent and then they can recommend somebody. Chances are, if you ask maybe 5 friends, one of those friends is going to know a real estate agent. There are tons and tons of real estate agents in Florida. I can't remember what the number is off the top of my head, but man, there are so many. So make sure when you are hiring an agent that you interview that agent. They should show up. You set it, you call them, you get some information, you set an appointment, and they're going to come to your house, or you can meet them somewhere at a coffee shop or whatever. They're going to have a listing presentation. The listing presentation is going to have some of their past sales, their marketing examples, and the process of what they do when they sell your house. So every agent should have something like that. If they don't, then either they're not prepared or they're just really good at explaining stuff without visuals. And for me, I like to have the visuals, and at the end of the conversation, I leave all that stuff with you so you can review it and make sure that I'm a good fit for you. So you're going to have to hire an agent. Make sure you hire a good one. Go through that process. Interview, talk to, get reviews on different agents. See what they're doing outside of the real estate world, as in, are they keeping up with the latest trends? Do they have podcasts that talk about, are they staying in the know and informing other people about real estate and the process of selling the home, things like that. So there's a lot of different factors other than, hey, I have good marketing, I can do this, I can do that. What kind of, just, you got to dig deeper a little bit into it. All right. So you found an agent, you've interviewed some, you found one, you signed a contract with them. They're going to figure out, a price. They're going to help you figure out the price point. They're going to do a comparative market analysis. And basically what that means is they're going to pull comps around your neighborhood or, wherever you're living usually within a 1 mile to 2 mile radius, or sometimes they have to go out a little bit further depending on where your house is located or the style, or maybe it's some acreage or whatever. But either way, they're going to dive into what the trends are, what the market is doing, how long it's going to be on the market, what other homes are selling for. and then they're going to come up with a price point to list your house at. So they should be able to walk you through all of that stuff. Okay, so now that you've got the agent, you've got the price point, this is what we're going to list it at, and this is probably what we're going to sell it for, because there's going to be two different prices. Just keep that in mind. There's the price that you list it at, and then there's the price that you sell it for. Those, sometimes they are the same, sometimes they're going to be different, but they should be pretty close. If they're, if it looks like, you're listing it way up here, but the normal selling price is down here, no, don't do that. Don't list it up here, because let me tell you, your house is going to go stagnant and you're going to sit on the market and nobody's going to buy it. And then after a while, people don't even want to see it anymore because they start thinking something's wrong with your house. So the price point is very, very, very important. All right. So we've already done a lot, but the next thing is going to be, you have to get your home ready for sale. So the real estate agent that you hire should be able to come over to your house and allow them to kind of go through, show them what your favorite areas are, why you like the house, things like that. Sort of give them an idea of what this house is about, what it means to you, because that's all going to translate to when they write the description about the house. They're going to incorporate all of that stuff. But the other thing they're going to do is they're going to help you find ways to get the home show ready. You have to get it show ready. So there's two things. There's the way we live, and then there's the way we sell a house. The way we live is, we've got laundry laying around, we've got, pets running around, maybe we haven't vacuumed in a few days or whatever, dusted, and it's lived in. Agents get it, I get it. My house is the same way, and that's fine. But we do have to take it from the way we live to the way we show. And the way we show is we want that showroom ready. I mean, when you walk into, let's say you're going into an auto dealer and they got those nice lights and the lights are bouncing off of the car and the car is clean and it has that certain smell, you're getting that experience when you walk into that car dealership. You want that same thing when buyers walk into your house. You want them to walk into that front door and the lights are just right, and there's no dust, and there's no clutter, and the couches are set just the right way so the room seems open and everything. So it's very, very important. But like I said, a good real estate agent is going to help you get that done, and possibly if you need to, you can even hire a professional stager. There are companies who come in, they have their own furniture, they bring it in, or they come in and they help you rearrange your own furniture. But if you need furniture, they have some that they can bring in. It's some sort of a fee, and depending on how many rooms or how much you need to get staged. But that is something that is available. Okay, so you've got your home, the price point. We're getting it show ready. We've got the, let's see. Yeah, the price point. We've got it show ready. So now it's time for the marketing. Okay, so marketing is going to be key when it comes to selling your home, because you need good professional photos. Your agent should be hiring a professional photographer. They should be paying somebody. It's going to cost them anywhere from $150 all the way up to about $400. I know this because I own my own photography company where I've done dozens and dozens of homes for other agents. I've gone and shot their listings with my professional equipment. I have, a nice camera. I've got a nice drone, 360 cameras and video cameras, and I have a whole package that I do for other agents. But the nice thing is, when I list a home, I don't have to hold back, so it doesn't cost me any extra to add all of the upgrades, the aerial photos and the videos and all of that kind of stuff. So because it's just my time to come over there and do all of that stuff. So make sure that you're getting good photos. The marketing is going to be on point with what needs to be done. So because this is going to be the first impression that a buyer sees. So when they're shopping online, because what is it, 80% or something like that of buyers shop online, and that's usually how they get started, by shopping online, and they're going to be looking at those photos. And if one of those photos kind of catches their eye, they're going to look at the video, and then they're going to want to see the 3D tour, the Matterport 3D tour, or a Zillow 3D tour. They're going to want to see all that stuff, and then maybe they even buy it sight unseen, or it encourages them to actually come and check it out in person. So marketing is going to be very, very important. Just please, please, please don't, if you see your agent coming into your home holding a cell phone and they're going to take pictures, you're like, oh yeah, that's fine, I can take pictures with my cell phone. Cell phone cameras are really, really good these days, but they never come out the same as a nice camera, like a mirrorless camera or a DSLR with a good lens on it. Like I said, cell phone cameras are great for taking, family photos and, while you're out and stuff like that. It's not, unless you do it just right, and you got to get the lighting right and everything. It's not going to come out the same. And in my experience, and some of those photos that I see that are out there for homes listed on the MLS are not very good. And so just, ask your agent, if they hire, what kind of photos they're going to do. Look for examples that they've done in the past. So, okay, so marketing. So that's one part of the marketing package. You get all your digital media, and then you're going to market it through the MLS, the multiple listing service, which is just one place that it goes out to. But when it does go out there, so take me, for example, I work with Century 21 Alton Clark. So through Century 21, when it goes into the MLS, then it goes out to the big websites like Zillow and Realtor.com and Redfin and a couple of others. But through Century 21, they actually syndicate it to like another 200 websites that are worldwide. So that's one of the things, that's one of the reasons I went with Century 21, just because they have such a broad exposure, not just locally or even nationally, but it's international, that it gets broadcast to, just like I said, 200 plus websites in different languages. And so you've basically increased the amount of people that are going to see your home for sale. And believe it or not, there's people that are moving from other countries into the U.S. or into Florida. Maybe they're coming to school or for whatever reason, and they need a place to live, and they have to be able to see that. And if we don't get it out there and expose it to them, they're never going to find your house. So that is something that, to me, it's a big factor in getting homes sold. So take that into consideration. So we've got the price point, we've got it ready to sell, we've got the marketing, we've got it on the MLS. So now that we're listed, we've got to start showing it. So, all right. So when you're showing the house, basically your agent, it's going to be scheduled with the buyer is going to have an agent most likely, and then their agent is going to schedule it through an online service, which alerts your real estate agent. And then we get, and then we take that, we can see what time, and then we can call you as the seller and say, hey, we've got somebody wants to come see it at 3:00. Is that okay? Maybe we've already set up a schedule that says anytime between this time and this time is good, or, but not this time or whatever. But we've already got a schedule set up. So then that way, we can just start funneling people. But always be prepared for those short notice showings, because that happens quite a bit. And I've worked with buyers where they call me up and say, hey, I just saw this house, on my feed, or, I was searching in the area and I saw one. I really want to go see it like right now. And so usually, it's about an hour. Most agents want about an hour notice, but sometimes a little bit longer. But in the off chance, just be ready for those short notice showings. Have like a checklist where you can just go through and it's like, all right, clean the bathroom, wipe down the bathrooms, put the dishes away, clean the counter off, make the beds real quick, and just go through it and check off those items. So then that way you're not really having to think about it. You're just, okay, what do I, because you're already frazzled about, you want it to look good, and you got to clean it. You spray your air freshener. Maybe you got to gather the dogs or the cats or whatever you have, and have a plan for them. Maybe they're going to be, maybe they hang out in the garage, or you have a room for them, or they're going to the neighbor's house, or you're going to load them up in the car and take them to the park for an hour while those people are coming to see your house. But have some sort of contingency for the animals. That is a big thing. You don't want the animals to be a distraction to the buyers when they're coming in to look at your house. All right. So we're getting showings, and after each showing, your agent should be asking for feedback. Every time I have a showing on one of my listings, I give the agent time to get done for the day, and then I'll send them a message and say, hey, do you have any feedback for 123 Fake Street for that house that you saw today? And sometimes they don't write anything back, just because everybody gets busy, or they can't think of anything, or whatever the case. But on occasion, you do get some good feedback, such as, it was a great house, but not quite what my buyers were looking for. It was too small, or they really wanted the extra half bathroom and yours didn't have it, or they wanted an updated kitchen and yours didn't have it. So what we start to do is we start getting feedback, and then we start looking for those trends and seeing, okay, we can change this, we can change that, we can make, maybe the lighting, it's like, yeah, they just said it was really dark. So that's something that we can change. We can go in there and we can change, how the light is set up, maybe some new light bulbs. So there are things that we can do that is going to make it more appealing. But when you get that feedback, don't be offended by it, because it's a way to help us do better for the next showing. So, and if we're starting to see trends, I've been in houses where maybe they have some sort of odor in there that is unfamiliar to some of the buyers. Maybe you just cooked some food and it had an odor to it, and it's sort of staying with the house, and people are coming in and that's what they're saying. We need to know those kind of things, because we want to be able to make it more appealing. We want to get rid of that odor. Maybe don't cook that food for a couple of days, or if you're going to make it outside or something like that. So that's just an example, but those are things that, yes, don't be offended by them, because it is just there to help us sell the house a little bit quicker and make it more appealing for the buyers. Okay, so we've got feedback, we've got the showings going, we're getting feedback. Now, at some point, we're going to get an offer. So right now, the market, it's slowed down. If you've been following the market, you know this. If you haven't been following it, then let me just tell you what's going on right now. Before, like a couple years ago, or even last year, we were selling homes. They'd go on the market, and then we'd have a contract in 5 or 10 days. Now, we're looking at 40 days, 45 days, depending on what exact area you're in, or what county, or whatever. But like here in Volusia County, we're looking at about 40 to 45 days on the market from the time you list it to the time you're actually getting a contract. That's not selling it. You're just getting an offer and signing a contract on it. So keep that in mind, that we are not in the market to where they're just flying off the shelf. Home sales are slowing down. There's a couple of reasons for it. One is because of interest rates. And I tell you what, that's probably the main reason, is interest rates are just a little bit higher. The other reason is because we actually have more homes on the market. So we've gone from about 1.5 or 1 month supply of inventory to now we have, I think, about 2.3, 2.4 months supply of inventory. So it's more than doubled than what it was a year ago or 2 years ago. So there's more homes on the market, and the interest rates are higher. So that means buyers have more choice to choose from, and as sellers, you have more competition with other sellers. And number two, the interest rates are higher, so the buyers are sort of constrained to what they can actually afford. Everybody that could afford a $400,000 house now can afford maybe a $300,000 house, because interest rates have gone way up. So you've just cut down some of the buyers that before could have afforded your house. Home prices are still up, but the interest rates are up, and therefore, buyers are just slowing down. That's just the way it is with the market right now. check out my market report that's going to be coming out next week sometime. Look on, hit the subscribe button on the channel, and then that way you'll get notified when I release the new market report for next week. So we've got all that. We're getting an offer, and it might be multiple offers. It might just be one offer, but either way, your agent is going to go through each parameter of that offer with you, or they shouldn't just send it to you without any information. If they do, red flag. Definitely be calling them up and saying, hey, walk me through this, because chances are you've probably never seen one of these contracts, and there's a lot of little things in there that you need to be aware of. It's not just about the closing date or the purchase price or the escrow deposit. There's other things in there that you really need to pay attention to. And when I say it's not just about the purchase price, I know you're thinking, well, Jared, wait, I want to sell my home for the maximum amount of money. Well, of course you do. But again, the purchase price is here. There's a lot of other factors that may affect that purchase price. And just because somebody has a higher price, but they may have worse terms somewhere else in the contract, whereas somebody with a lower purchase price, a little bit, maybe they have better terms. So it's, like I said, it's not just the purchase price itself is not the end all be all of what makes the best contract. And I can tell you that from experience, because I just helped a client. They bought some land, and I know for a fact that we had a multiple offer situation, and we were not the highest offer out there. And the agent had told me this. She said, well, you're not the highest offer, but the sellers liked your offer the best. And why was that? Is because I had some other things in there that made the offer seem better than the one with a higher purchase price. So like I said, I know this from experience. It's not always about the purchase price. You can be a little bit lower but have better terms. So I've kind of beat that, too much here, but I wanted to make that clear. Don't just focus on that. All right, moving on. So you've gotten the contract, you've reviewed it, and you've agreed, you've negotiated. Make sure your agent is negotiating, good and with the other party and everything. And then eventually you're going to agree on all the terms. You're going to sign it. The buyers are going to sign it. And then now, boom, you have an accepted offer. Okay, so after that, there's going to be a few things that happen fairly quickly. The first thing is going to be an escrow deposit. The escrow deposit is going to be stipulated as one of those terms in the contract, and that's going to be sent to the title company that has been chosen to handle this transaction. The escrow deposit is just sort of a deposit to say to the seller, hey, I'm buying your house, and if I decide to back out and I can't meet certain parameters, I'm going to lose, I forfeit this escrow deposit. It could be $1,000. It could be $10,000. It just depends on how much they're offering. So it really, really depends. So escrow deposit, that's usually within 3 days. It could be sooner. It could be longer if it's stipulated in the contract. But typically the default is going to be 3 days. It has to be done within 3 days. If they don't, they're in default. Okay, so that takes us to the inspection period. So the inspection period, I've seen it. So let me explain what it is real quick. The inspection period is the time that the buyers have to do all of their due diligence. So whether it's inspections of the entire home, or maybe they want to get a plumber out there to inspect some of the plumbing, or a roofer to inspect the roof, things like that. So this is the time that they have to do all of their due diligence at their expense. This is not going to cost you anything, but they have to, this is their time to do that. Now, here's the catch. With the as-is contract, the inspection period section specifically says that buyer can back out of this contract without any penalty during this time. So if it's a 5-day inspection period and they back out within that 5 days, unfortunately, that's just the way it goes. They could do that, and then they would get their deposit back. If they're outside of those 5 days, then they would be in breach of contract. They can't back out of it. There are a couple other things or reasons that they could, but during the inspection period, that's going to be the biggest one. And once that's done, we can breathe easy just a little bit. We still have some other things to go through. So the loan approval period, that's going to be the time where the buyers are working with their lender to get them all the information, get the inspection done. They're going to have to do an appraisal, and I'll talk about that here in just a second. They're going to have to do an appraisal, and among other things, to get their side done. But usually the loan approval period is going to be sort of going to coincide with the closing date. So it might be like 30 days or 35 days, however long they need to get that loan approved. And that's one of the other things. If for some reason the loan can't approve, the lender can't approve that buyer for some reason. It doesn't happen very often, but on occasion it does. And there is a stipulation in the contract where it says, okay, well, obviously, if they can't get the loan approved, then they can't buy the house. Therefore, the contract is canceled, and the buyers get their escrow deposit back. The whole escrow deposit, that's if the buyers just randomly, like everything's going smoothly, and they just say, you know what, I'm walking away. I don't want this house anymore. Then they're going to lose that deposit. So, and I've seen that happen before, believe it or not. And that opens up a whole new can of worms. If they think they're just going to walk away, you're talking potential lawsuits and damages, and it's just not something you want to get into. Okay, so loan approval period. And then I mentioned appraisals. So appraisals is a very, very important part of the loan approval, because there's basically a couple things that can happen. It either gets appraised at exactly the purchase price, or it gets appraised a little bit higher, which is good. If it gets appraised higher, that's great for the buyers, and then that means the loan is going to go through. It means you're going to sell your house. If it gets appraised for a little bit lower, it could be good or it could be bad. It kind of depends. So there's a couple of things that can happen. The appraisal comes through and it comes in lower. So either you're going to have to negotiate with the buyers, and they're going to tell you, say, hey, we need to drop the price to whatever it appraised at. If you don't want to do that, you can cancel the contract as a seller, because we're now in renegotiations. So you would have that option to cancel that contract. Or number three, the buyer is going to have to come up with the difference in cash. So if it was, if it appraised $5,000 below what the purchase price was, the buyer is going to have to come up with an additional $5,000 to make that difference up. So those are kind of the three options on appraisals. But I tell you what, appraisals have been pretty good lately. I haven't had any issues with them. And when I get when I have an appraisal coming through on the, when I have a listing and I have an appraiser coming, I always show up to meet that appraiser, because I want to make sure that it goes smooth for them. And if they have any questions about the home or the neighborhood or whatever, and I usually have a little packet with information, maybe some comparables, some other houses that have sold recently, and I offer it to them if they want it. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So it kind of depends on the appraiser, but I always have it ready for them to take. And a lot of them are pretty receptive of it. They'll say, yeah, sure, I'll take it. That way they can, maybe they missed something that I saw, I've got something in there that, maybe they can use, and it's going to help boost the price. All right. So we've made it all the way through appraisal, and let's say, it appraised good. The loan is going to be approved, and now we're getting up to that closing date. So the closing date is basically, this is where you're going to sign all of that paperwork. And believe me, there is a ton of paperwork when it comes to signing and transacting a real estate, or doing a real estate transaction. You're going to have a lot of stuff to sign. Sometimes you can do them remotely, to where they can either send you an e-document or an e-sign, where you can sign it on a computer, or they can send it to you via FedEx if you're in another state, or you're not close by. They can send it to you via FedEx, and you pull it out, you sign it, and then you send it back. Or sometimes you have to meet up with a notary if you're doing it that way, depending on the situation. But either way, it can be done remotely, either on the computer or through FedEx, and you just ship it back to them. Or you come into the actual title office or closing office or lawyer's office, or whoever is closing this transaction for you, whoever is going through and organizing all the paperwork and having everybody sign. Typically, it's a title company that is doing that, but you go into the office and then they're going to have a time set up for you. You're going to go in, you're going to sign all the paperwork, and they're going to explain it really, really, really well. All of the closings that I've done, I mean, these closing agents, I mean, they do this every day. They could literally, close their eyes and just hand you the paper and tell you exactly what's on there, what you're signing, and everything. And I'll be there too, because I want to make sure everything goes smoothly for you and the buyers and everybody involved, and I've had it happen where, mistakes get made and I show up and we're looking at it and we're like, oh, hold on a second. This is, some of these numbers aren't adding up. And then turns out, they've had so many closings scheduled for that day as we actually had the wrong packet. Once we were like, oh, wait, this is not even the right name. So, I'm always there to make sure that things go smoothly. So you close on the paperwork, you sign everything. Once that money is transferred to the title company, and they'll verify that they have all the funds from the buyer that comes from, either their bank account or the loan or whatever they're getting. Once they have all that stuff, then it goes, they'll transfer it to you, either, wiring, or they'll send you a check, or you can stop by and pick up a check or whatever. They don't do cash. It has to be some sort of, either check or wiring it to your bank. But once that is done, the title company will let everybody know that, hey, the funds have cleared, everything is signed, and it is now okay to hand the keys over to the buyers, and you are done. Whoa, man, that is a long, long process. It's really not. It sounds like a long process. It can take, like I said, now it's taking a little bit longer, about a month to a month and a half. To just get a contract, and then you got to go another 30 days to get everything done and wrapped up. But it is quite a process. Again, you do have the option to do it FSBO, for sale by owner. Make sure you stay tuned to one of the next couple of videos where I'm going to dive deep into FSBO listings and talk about some of the pros and cons and mistakes that some of the for sale by owners make when they list their home for sale. But to kind of recap on this, I just wanted to say, talk about real quick the three things, and if you don't remember them, I'm going to cover it again real quick, is the three factors that are most important when it comes to listing your house. So the three key factors are going to be setting the price correctly. You got to have a good price point. Marketing. You have to have professional looking photos and video and whatever else you're going to do. It has to be on point. And then that third factor is going to be exposure. You got to get the house out there. If you just list it on the MLS, yes, it's going to go out to, a lot of people, but you really need to get it out there and get it exposed to as many people, as wide of a range of audience as you can. So, but those are the three key factors. That's my experience. And when I list a home, those are the three things that I typically focus on, unless, and then I sort of tweak it from there, depending on the location, the kind of home, and things like that. But, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. I really, really appreciate that. And if you would, hit the subscribe button if you're watching this on YouTube. And then also you can check out other video episodes that I've done of Morning Cup of RealTea on Facebook and YouTube. Or if you want to listen to the audio only version, you can do that through Spotify, Anchor.fm, or even through your favorite podcast app. All you have to do is just search JDA Florida Homes. Until next time. Cheers.